Before we start, take a moment to like and subscribe. Picture this. It's the Ice Age. Everything is cold, hairy, and covered in snow. Survival is the #1 priority. Yet, when someone died, the community didn't just walk away. They stopped everything, worked together, and created beautiful, meaningful, and incredibly elaborate burials. This shows us that Ice Age people weren't just tough survivalists. They had deep feelings, spiritual beliefs, and even a little bit of ancient funeral fashion sense. Let's dig into the dirt, gently of course, and uncover the secrets of how our ancient ancestors said goodbye. If there is one thing that defines an Ice Age burial, it's the color red. When archaeologists uncover these ancient graves, they often find the bones and everything around them covered in a bright red mineral powder called ochre. Red ochre is basically iron oxide, like a natural rust found in rock form. People would grind this rock into a fine powder, almost like very bright makeup or paint. The symbol of life. To Ice Age people, blood equaled life. Since the ochre powder was the color of blood, covering the deceased with it might have been a symbolic way of giving them a new life or giving them strength for the journey ahead. It's like sending them off with a big spiritual power-up. Protection and transition. Think of it as a spiritual shield. By covering the body and the burial tools with a rich red dust, they were perhaps protecting the person from evil spirits or helping them transition smoothly into the next world. The best clothing, the red colors stained everything the body. The animal skin clothing and the tools making the entire gravesite look like a dramatic sacred scene. It was a true, vibrant send-off that showed how much they valued the person. Nobody heads out on a long trip without snacks and good gear, and the Ice Age dead were no different. These ancient people believed the afterlife was a real journey, and they made sure their loved ones were perfectly equipped. This is where we find the amazing grave goods. Archaeologists often find simple but valuable tools placed right next to the body. This included things like stone blades, razor-sharp stone knives, or small hand axes, maybe for hunting dinner on the other side. Bone needles critical for making clothes, perhaps so the traveler could repair their spiritual outfit if it got ripped. Antler spears. These were the ultimate hunting weapons. Placing one in the grave was a sign of respect, ensuring the person could protect themselves and hunt in the spirit world. Sometimes they weren't just sending tools, they were sending dinner. We find evidence of offerings such as large chunks of bison meat or reindeer legs left in the grave. Since they couldn't pack a freezer, these cuts of meat would have been quickly covered with earth. It's like leaving a care package for the person to sustain them right after they woke up in the next world. This is the really fun part. Ice Age people were surprisingly fashionable. They didn't just bury tools, they buried beautiful. Handmade jewelry that had taken hours or days to create. Beads. Thousands of small beads made from shells, animal teeth, or bone have been found. These were often sewn onto caps, belts, or necklaces. Pendants. Carefully carved pieces of bone or ivory, sometimes shaped like animals or abstract designs. The fancy hat. Often a circle of beads suggests the person was wearing a decorated hat or cap when buried. It's clear they wanted the person to look their absolute best for their grand entrance into the spirit world. Some graves stand out because they are so incredibly rich that they must have belonged to important people. The most famous example is the Sungir site in Russia. This burial, roughly 32,000 years ago, was absolutely mind-blowing. The boy and the man. Archaeologists found a man and two young people, a boy and a girl, perhaps buried together. The amount of work that went into these graves suggests these people were truly special, maybe powerful hunters. Respected elders or leaders. Thousands of beads. The three bodies were covered from head to toe in mammoth ivory beads. Over 13,000 of them. Think about that. A single mammoth tusk was cut, carved, and smoothed into all these tiny beads. It would have taken thousands of hours, possibly an entire community's work for years, just to make the burial outfits. The boy alone had about 4,900 beads. Ivory spears. The boy was buried with a stunningly long, mazeled straight spear made from a straightened mammoth tuska. technical masterpiece that would have been impossible to use for hunting, suggesting it was purely a ceremonial or symbolic object of immense value. These findings tell us that Ice Age society had roles and status, and they treated their VIPs to a dazzling, unforgettable send-off. If you look at the skeletons, you'll notice something consistent. The people were almost always carefully positioned. This was no accident. It was part of the ritual. The sleep analogy. Perhaps they viewed death as a deep sleep, and this was simply a natural way to rest. Rebirth. The position closely resembles a baby inside the womb. This suggests the powerful idea that death was not an end, but a return to the earth before a rebirth or reawakening in the next world. It was a hopeful ritual, not a sad one. The burial blanket. Sometimes the body was wrapped tightly in animal skins, almost like a cozy sleeping bag, before being placed in the prepared ochre-painted grave. These Ice Age funeral rituals were not primitive at all. They reveal a people who cared deeply about each other, worried about the journey after life, and had the intelligence and artistry to create elaborate ceremonies that showed their profound spiritual beliefs.